Right, half a day, half a day. Again. Half a day. Negaza beitzek todo. All right, negaza beitzeki live stream komatsotso gitorui channels hungan. Komatsotso gi estinabanda hungan. Ngayon ratu. Okay, so YouTube, again, Facebook. All right, manatrasau hididi pogo. We are running a little bit late today, lo maulaka. Okay. Okay. Got Okay. All right, half a day, Todo Samzu. Today we will be starting shortly in just a few minutes. Nusi Michael Luhan Vavakwa. We will be talking with organizers for Lukau Litekyan Walk for Water 2025. And so dispensa manatra sao hamnaigi estina bonito na metkules bonito na haani hungan estigitso hungan estigimatahu hungan. And so let's see if this will play real fast while we are waiting to get started. I invite you to stand in solidarity with the tomorrow people as we come to. Right. All right. Nafade. Todo samzugwana hudzung. Inan husim Michael Luhan Bavakwa. And while I'm waiting for our guests to join, let me just get things started here. Hungan. Last year, the first Walk for Water was held at Litekyan, which is in northwestern Guam. Many of you might be familiar with Litekyan. I hope that you're familiar with Litekyan. Some of you might not be as familiar with Litekyan. And so it is a place which more of us should know about Litekyan. But because of its complicated history, not as many people are familiar with Litekyan. And so it's truly one of the unfortunate things that Litekyan is most likely one of our oldest villages on the island of Guam, an ancient village. Amazing artifacts, amazing history come from the village of Litekyan, but it is also a location in which you have tragic stories of displacement, more recent displacement, families that have been fighting to get justice, land back. You don't have to, you can go back to stories of protest from the 90s, from the 80s, lawsuits, families that have been pushing for access to their land, access to get land back, all sorts of stuff. Litekyan is tied into all of these things. Now we see that Litekyan is brought up in all of these issues about military buildup, land contamination because of militarization, and efforts to make sure that life can be sustained on this beautiful place that we call home. Because in all of these discussions about how do we improve our economy, how do we make sure that millions of tourists can come to Guam and save our economy, how do we make it so that 1 million Marines can come to Guam, all of these things that all these people are always saying. How many missiles can we fit on this island? So many people are always forgetting, how do we survive here if we can't drink the water on Guam? And if we keep building and if we keep putting firing ranges, if we put military bases over precious water resources, what are we going to do? If the water is so contaminated here, if our water aquifer, if our water lens is inundated because of things that have happened to it, what happens next? And so Last year, a very special event happened. Hundreds of people came out for it, Walk for Water, in October of 2024. And I'm glad to see that one of the main organizers for that, and also one of the intergenerational activists, one of the descendants of the landowners in the Litekyan area, Maria Hernandez, is here now to talk about Lukau Litekyan Walk for Water 2025, which is a follow-up, another exciting day filled with ceremony, symbolism, art, culture, healing, protest, all of these sorts of things, powerful messaging. And so set to take place December 13th, Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. And so Maria, I'm glad that you made it because I know that you are on the other end of the empire right now. Gaigihao gi Otrubandanay Hungan Siempre Estegov Puengi Bueno, I know it's late there and Muñeca is here. Muñeca de Oro is back in the Zoom, Hungan. And so
Happening.
hey, Hafade Hungan. I was just telling everyone my family genealogy while we were waiting about how the Cabeza clan came. I'm just kidding. But but and so now that we've got some of the organizers for Walk for Water, Luca Litekyan 2025 here, I'm gonna throw some stuff up on the screen now. And so put favor December 13th, starting at 8 a.m. Litekyan Guahan. And so it's free to attend, all ages. It includes a 1 mile walk, but it begins with a water ceremony. There is a lasadzu. There will be almut available. It's sponsored by a number of different events, and I want to hand it off now to Maria and to Monica, uh, who can talk more about the things to expect. But Situs Masipari Ifanatun Midzu, this looks amazing. I mean, even at the Nestina Bonito del Trotu, look at this picture of all of these people that have gathered as part of last year's walk on the beach at Litekyan. It's a beautiful shot of people that have taken the 1 mile trek. And so, Maria, do you want to get us started here to talk about sort of what people can expect this year for the Walk for Water?
Hanggang si just maasi magets and Fanachu, dispensa zu, para atrasa zu. I am tuning in from DC, Washington, DC, my first time here, freezing my butt off. But I'm doing some work around a coalition visit for Hita Litekyan, which is our family's coalition fighting for land advocacy for land back of our ancestral land Litekyan. And so just kind of doing some meet and greets out here, preparing for that coalition visit in late January. And so, yeah, just getting settled into Wi-Fi. But so excited for this episode. And yeah, the photo that Maget showed on the flyer, that was from last year's Walk for Water, which brought hundreds of people out to Litekyan. And so we just invite the entire community to come out, to join us, to this is a ceremony. This is an action that we're doing to raise awareness about impacts to our water from a number of different activities, including military activities across our waters in Guahan and in the Mariana Islands. And we, have learned over the years about the ways that our people have never consented to many of the projects that are happening that have impacts to our lands and to our waters. And a lot of that comes from our political status as a colony, one of 17 colonies left in the world. We've just learned that a lot of the work that we're doing on the ground, fighting for the protection of all that we call sacred as Native people, any resolutions passed, petitions signed, the list goes on, direct action that the reality is that we don't have agency as a colony to make these decisions that very much impact our lives. And, look at what's happening with the dieldrin contamination up in the north. Just families being impacted by Agent Orange being sprayed, near the military bases where there are families now reaching out, trying to find out what's going on, that there are, certain streets on the base where many of the families have contracted cancer. We have historical contamination in Mangmang Totomaiti with PCBs who are, over the last few years, I've had the honor of meeting and speaking with families who family members have the same type of cancer. And doctors are saying it has to be environmental. Um, we have contamination at the Cocos Lagoon from a former I believe it was a radio station, former, yeah, radio station, right, Magat? And Yex, and a radio tower that was just left there by the military, and then a typhoon hit it down and leached PCBs into the water there, where the fish are still showing elevated levels of PCBs in their tissue when they do fish tissue sampling. And so with all the historical contamination and then looking at current threats, right? Like, why are we building up when we still have so much to clean up? There's still so much contamination to our waters, and with real human impacts to our health. And now we're looking at a 700-acre firing range complex that's being built above our island's main aquifer, where 700 acres have been cleared, and we have 7 million lead bullets proposed to be shot above our main water source. And so it's scary. It's a scary time, but we definitely don't want to lead with fear in our community. We want our people to feel empowered, that even though all this is happening, we're still coming together as a community to walk for our human right to clean drinking water. And so we invite all ages to come down and be part of this event with us. It's going to be beautiful. Manyaka is leading the ceremony portion with Dakota Komatsu, which we were hoping Dax could join, but he's actually teaching a class right now. And yeah, next can definitely, if you want to chime in, sis, about the ceremony portion, and we can share a little bit more about what you can expect from the day. But yeah, please feel free, sis, to chime in and add.
Oh yes, it's Zeus Masian. And I have some pictures from last year too that I can share as well. And for those watching, por favor, en igual cuestión Mizu Hungen. Um, if you have any questions, but and Hungen Muñeca, please talk about the ceremony, because I know that that was something that a lot of people, because some people who came were not sure what to expect. And I saw people who were in tears after participating in the water ceremony at the beginning, because people had brought water from, they had been told to bring water with them from, and people were like, Hafesti, I'm going to bring water. Like what? I'm going to bring like Evian water. I'm going to bring this. I'm going to, what kind of water? Fiji water, Hafesti. And some people were a
Freedom's
little bit,
choice.
yeah, free. Some people brought Patriots Choice water, and they were a little bit suspicious of it. But then when they were there in that moment, and just to be in the ceremony of it all, like some people were in tears, moved by it all. And so if you can kind of talk to us about what it means, because I think, we all know that for Chamorros, this type of ceremony for many of our people is new. It's unfamiliar to them, and I think that's what was really special for me to see it, to experience it as well. And so, Hungen, these are pictures from last year's gathering.
Yeah, so prayer and ceremony have been an integral part of Indigenous existence. And for us, with over 500 years of colonization and all that's happening in the world, these practices have been lost a lot because of our history. Um, so it's critical for us in this time to reclaim these sacred practices, especially the ones that connect us with our lands and with our seas and with our ancestry. In recent times, water has been a central aspect for many ceremonies and actions in communities that experienced harm, especially Native communities. And so Native people have been using medicine walks, like the walk that we're going to be doing next week, Saturday, as well as water ceremonies to unite people and to raise awareness all over the world around the issues that the threats to their water sources. And so if we think about Mauna Kea and the No Dapple movement in the Dakotas, those were all issues centered around Indigenous rights and keeping water clean. The No Dapple Dakota Access Pipeline issue in the right before the 2020s was an issue around a pipeline, an oil pipeline running over Indigenous lands and wanting to protect rivers and lakes from oil contamination. Mauna Kea is also in Hawaii, where they want to build a telescope over an aquifer in one of their most sacred mountains, and a telescope over the aquifer. And so it's in that sort of practice and tradition of using ceremony as a place to resist environmental and cultural threats. And we have been doing this at Micronesia Climate Change Alliance along with Gimatanguma since 2023 when we started a series of almond walks throughout the Marianas Archipelago. And we've worked with many healers to develop our protocols and mostly with Defunto Jeremy Cepeda to really like ground us in our language and in the chants that we share when we bring people together. And so it's really important, especially joining with the Texan Ratidian families who's been struggling to get this land back for generations, 5 generations now, over since the 60s. So rejoining and uplifting their call to action to get their land back and to protect our most precious resource, the water, is really important. Waters are, so essential for us to be able to live. And the fact that the firing range is above the bluff of Litekyan, one of our most sacred sites, above our aquifer, which feeds over 90% of our island's water needs. It's just really important that we lay down these prayers and use this as an expression of unity and a call to action. It's a walk and it's a protest. And together we walk the footsteps of our ancestors and we're guided in wisdom. The ceremony itself uses a lot of information that we've gathered over years of research and really just connecting to our own resources here in the islands. So we do ask people to bring water, hopefully fresh or even beach water, because we don't consume this water, but from freshwater sources around the island, from the rivers in the south to the streams, or even the Hanum Sinagu, or the water that you can collect from the rain on your house off the tin roofs or off the gutters. I'm going to be bringing water that came from people from all over the world at a water ceremony that was just done in Brazil, and people from all corners of the planet shared their water, shared their struggles around water. At that space, I brought water from Litekyan and I brought water from Saipan, from Santa Lourdes, to be shared in that water. And so this was on the banks. We had a water ceremony on the banks of the Guama River, which is a tributary of the Amazon River. And so this is just a nod to the millions and millions of people around the world who have um, a deep wanting to move the way in which we're as a whole human collective are relating to Mother Earth and wanting to protect Mother Earth from all corners of the world, especially when it comes to water.
Oh, Sidus Mossing. No, thank you for I cannot especially in this as we increasingly become sort of enmeshed in this sort of technical virtual world and stuff like that, so many of us lose sight of just water and the material sort of natural world and stuff like that. And so this this event with its emphasis on ceremony, on connecting to these resources, sort of remembering, remembering these simple fundamental truths are so important. No matter how many AI generated videos you create about water, it's not going to sate your thirst for water, right? You could create a million AI generated videos of people drinking water. It's not going to save your thirst problem. Mama o ha how. Ungan.
And just to
And
go on artificial intelligence and water, there is a huge connection and concern about the use of artificial intelligence and water. Every single prompt that you put into AI uses almost a liter of water. So if there's millions and millions of people using it, that's a huge drain on such a precious resource in areas that are likely already overburdened by environmental issues. And so AI is definitely, and just the fight for data centers is becoming a more and more prevalent issue across the states and across the world because of its heavy intensity on the use of water to cool down the servers. And so that's another emerging issue when it comes to water, one that we really do need to be voicing out and more critical and concerned about.
oh,
And another issue we have, Maria mentioned so much, but like just within our own backyard, the issue of deep sea mining is one that we also want to help to bring awareness of. This is coming. Our walk for water is happening the day after the comment period ends for the CNMI's response or comment period for the intentions for the federal government to do deep sea mining within the Marianas waters, and so there's so many threats to waters in our community where we already have such high levels of contamination. And so prayer is one thing that our community has always done really, really strongly. We will be having a Lisazu as a part of our ceremony in different generations, holding different decades of the Lisazu. And so praying for water, praying for the health of our people is definitely that aligns with our cultural expression of protecting life.
no,
Thank you,
Sidus
guys.
Mossing.
Yeah, and I did want to share too that we, in addition to the water that Nex is bringing from Brazil, we also have some water from all around the Mariana Islands that we did a water ceremony for our Making Waves conference, and so I have the water with me, and we'll be adding that to the HEMA during the ceremony. And just to add a little bit more about the prayer portion, and just not being sort of, I like to say the word desensitized, but yeah, just in the face of all of these struggles and threats to our water, not to just kind of lie down. We need to come together in prayer and in ceremony. And so we decided to do the Lisadzu. And like Nyex mentioned, it's a generational Lisadzu, which is going to have nannies from Harao participate. They actually have a Lisadzu, like a Tsetsa club. Which is the Tsetsa is the person that leads a Lisadzu. So from first grade to sixth grade, they have a Tsetsa club. So we asked the Harao, Magalahan Harao Chamorro Academy Charter School to participate and be part of the event through not only working with Gimata and Guma to open up the event in ceremony, but also the nannies are going to be praying the Lisadzu on the mic there, and many of the Famagoon that are going to participate were part of a youth water testing program that MCCA and Hita Litekyan put on earlier this year. From in the month of March, it was a 3-week program where we taught the children how to test their water. We flew in Sina May Santos Rosa from the States, and she's a scientist with a background in water testing. And so she taught the children how to use the test kits to test water. We also made some Metgut mud balls, which are microbial mud balls, which was really, really fun um, and exciting for the kids to do in school, making mud balls with us. But they have a good bacteria in them, kind of similar to what a probiotic does for the gut, the mud ball does for the water. And so at the end of the program, we gave them all water protectors certificates, and we were told that for weeks after the program ended, many of them from grade second through fifth were asking their parents to go to Home Depot to get water kits because they just had such a fun time learning about how to test water. And it really does, when you show the kids how easy it is, and it's not just like an adult that can test water, that you can do it too as a child and empower them, that they get excited about it. To sort of break that barrier was exciting, and so we invited them to take part and join us in the walk. And so our youth water protectors are going to be there, and it's going to be, like Nyex mentioned, a multi-generational event. And Mama Lou Manglotnia. That's her last name, right? Yeah,
Hungen,
Mama Lou
Hungen, Hungen
Manglotnia,
si Mamalu.
um, who is Master Zawamti, and really such a respected elder in our community. Tata Luta, and has been in Guahan for a few years now, teaching at UOG, is going to be doing an omelet outreach. She makes her omelet, her medicinal teas, for those who don't know what omelet is. And please fill in the blanks if I'm saying things that maybe people need more context to understand, like tsetsa and stuff like that. But yeah, so Mama Lou's going to be doing an outreach table there. She's also going to be one of the speakers. We have a few speakers lined up, and we have musical performances as well that we can get a little bit into.
Oh,
Um,
Hungen.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Hungen. We should definitely debita diskutiano mas. Speak of the fanihi. Speak of the fanihi, Hungen. Sa po anok nai po desniki fanihi si tahini, Hungen. And
Uh,
so
oh,
I hear
Nini. Woo.
and so I know wherever Chamorros gather, there must be food, there must be music, Hungen. And so let's talk about that. What I love about sort of the Walk for Water is that it has all of these elements. It has ceremony. It has it has a protest vibe. It also has sort of like a solemn vibe too, the Lisadzu element, but it also has the Guput vibe too, because there are those Chamorro people that are only reached through the party gland, the party gene. And so I like that it has that. And so and so let's talk about sort of some of the musical guests here. See Tahini, who is here, and I want to and so but Microchild will also be there, the Litekyan families. And is that really Senor Tom Bejardo of Stel Star Fenamus Hungan? Senor Tom Bejardo,
Yeah, Uncle Tom.
oh my goodness, who the man who launched 1,000 Chamorro CDs. Oh my goodness. Wow. And I love him. I was so grateful when he came out, and he's so mamalaw, but I'm so grateful when he came out and did a Fanachu episode with me and talked about his working on so many different musical albums. It was so amazing just to hear him talking about how he helped all of these different recording artists across so many years.
Yes, Uncle Tom. He's so my mom's brother, Tom Bijado, and he's very humble, but has done so much for our culture and the music world and created Guam's first CD called Tomorrow.
Hmm.
And yeah, he's just the best human, and he's going to be playing with Auntie Kat McCullum, Auntie Kat Flores McCullum, and Auntie Kat's granddaughter Parodies. They'll be duetting with Uncle Tom playing on the piano. And yeah, he's definitely like come through and enjoy the music. He actually just won the Mega Haga Award for shoot, what was it called? It was called the Pioneer Award for the
Oh, that's
individual
right.
portion.
Oh, yeah.
So proud of my uncle. I definitely had to shout him out. And feel free, Heaney, you want to jump in and share, sis,
Oh,
the
yeah.
others?
Hungan. And so yes, so Tahini, put for what talk about this, and then Tahini, if you also just want to talk about your music and then your thoughts on sort of why it's important that music is part of events like this, the movement itself, put for what.
Buenas, and half a day. Am I coming through okay?
Hungan hu hu hunga ka.
Okay. Just dispensa, forgive me because my voice is still coming back online. Had a long night singing last night. Music is everywhere, including last night. And I do thank you first so much for bringing up that point of what the I guess music and art and creative expression can serve in these spaces. Like, what does that have to do with the Lisadu walk or an Abba walk? You know what I mean? But I think everything that you guys mentioned in this episode, prayers, ceremony, music, unity, all of it to me is like all valid different types of protests and so many different types of way that we can protest. And I feel like these kind of gatherings really serve as testament to the persevering human spirit and our resiliency in our people, despite all of the elemental and cultural injustices that we face. It's like we're still here, we're still fighting, and the fight doesn't have to look one specific way or just hone in on one specific sector of expression. It's like a mixture of all these and blending of all these different arts. um and so I think, as an artist, and I think we talked about it a little bit in our In Solidarity podcast in one of those episodes. I think one, I've always identified myself as like an artivist. So like my activism and my advocacy for these injustices, they come out the best way I know how to express myself, which is artistically, musically, poetically, and sometimes through my jokes because I love hee hee ha haing. But there's a time to be serious, there's a time to be um comedian, and I like to blend those sometimes when I'm on stage, and I find that it helps me kind of ground myself in those like stage fright nerves, because I still get them, to where like if I get on the mic and I'm just like this and I feel a little bit nervous, maybe I get a little barefoot, then I maybe say a joke, and then I make like a political reference, and then I go back into the next song. You know what I mean? But it's like um I really take inspiration from, I guess, I don't know why Chris Malfunction is coming up to me right now. See, Chris Barnett, like growing up with his kind of influence, he was a radio personality host. He was a comedian, really, and he was also very political, and he didn't shy away from that. And he would channel that into kind of these satirical skits or like, you know, um, like parodies and songs that would, even get the average listener who maybe doesn't know a bunch of things about what's going on in politics, but they would listen to a skit and they would be like, you know what, I want to learn more about that because, Chris Malfunction said this and that, and he was making good points. And it hits you in a certain way, you know what I mean? Rather than like going up on a podium and kind of being like, you're wrong, you're right. There's a time and place. And I feel like that's also very necessary. And there's people that are doing that. And then there's also people that will gladly, like me, step up just to tell some jokes and then sing and then, help facilitate and keep that vibe going. So I think it's very important to have, um, even if it's not live music, but just music or any form of art to some degree in these kinds of spaces, because I feel like it really brings a balance to um kind of the aggression that could come from the anger that we feel for what we are fighting for. You know what I mean? So it's a healthy way to keep that in check and to ground that and to channel that into something that would be more wise and smart rather than something we would regret later. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm very, very excited for the Walk for Water coming up and all of the beautiful artists and musicians that'll be on the lineup. We have me, myself, and my band, RJ, Vince, Eric, Bucks, and then we have Microchild. So excited and honored to be on the same lineup. This will be the second lineup where I'm right next to Microchild, and it's such a dream. I love them so much.
I,
Oh my gosh.
it's it's so funny. It's so funny, sir. Sumahi recently, I'm gonna out Sumahi because Sumahi is at the point where Sumahi loves music and talking about music. Sumahi was like recently paid like hundreds of dollars to get My Chemical Romance tickets in Korea. And Sumahi was like, Hadzipon like gasta estina klassen salape paro and like danderu pa dandera. So I was like, who would you pay this much money to watch? And I'm like, see Johnny Sablon, see
Mm.
Microchild, see Candy Taman, Lesta Matai. And I just named tomorrow artists, but I'm like, lo sweaty Zeus, Sinu Ega si Microchild kada si Manambi, I'm lucky. I don't gotta pay $300 to watch Microchild every week.
Yeah, but if we
He
could, we
sweat
would.
y'all. But
For
yeah, no,
me,
so
yeah, I'm the
that's why I
same.
always, when every time Microchild puts out a single, I buy 10 digital versions of it.
We love it. Supporting local doesn't just mean, going to the night market and going to local businesses. Yes, and I love doing that. I have so many boo la 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 local artists and local vendors, little trinkets here in my room. But I also feel like sometimes we forget that also means like supporting our local artists in terms of, the digital realm, like you said, like buying their music or streaming their music. If you can't buy their album, just like streaming it, sharing it, enjoying it, which is what it's there for. And yeah, I thought I probably would too if I had the opportunity to pay for a $300 ticket concert with all of the local icons. And
If
probably
Gus
mine
and
would be
Doll are gonna
Jesse
perform
Bias.
again, I'll pay $200 for Gus and Doll again if they're gonna perform again.
Hey. We also have, hold on, my screen is bugging out. We
Hadzia
also
DJ
have the Texan Families and DJ
Oh yeah.
Everything.
And
And that
Hadzia
is,
DJ everything.
Maria, do you want to talk about that, sis? Um, she kind of Maria brought it up to me when we were, because I've been helping out with the entertainment logistics and doing the best I can to try and, familiarize myself with the lineup and help that get into place. And then she mentioned for another event that I believe that DJ Everything is in second grade, if I'm not mistaken. So
So
nannypreneur,
he's a
entrepreneur.
He actually is a nannypreneur. He's in the Nenpire program too, with a business showing his own art. And his name is Patian. He's a first grader at Harao. And he was also in a DJ program. And Dina, his mom, is a friend. of myself, of next of some other mamas in the movement, and um, maybe you know her too, Tahini. But yeah, so Patian, Dina brought up this opportunity to Patian, and he was like, "Yes, mom." And she just texted me yesterday saying she showed him the flyer, and he was so excited. He was like mind blown, freaking out. He's so excited to be one of the featured artists for the Walk for Water. And of course, we got to uplift the Pamagun, you know? This is a multi-generational event, and we're bringing that through even in the musical performances. So just so excited for our Neni Patian to be part of this. Um,
Viva.
and I gotta, since I brought up the Empire, gotta shout out the Neni Market happening at Micro Mall this Saturday. He's gonna be one of the vendors, my son, Camden, my niece Cree, and a bunch of like maybe 15 kids total with their small businesses. So check them out at Micro Mall. I believe it's, does anybody know the time? 1 to 6 or something? Sorry, gotta do that plug for our nannies.
But
But
well,
yeah,
but
those are the performers.
nicely planned. It's right after GovGuam payday. Nicely planned.
Yes.
I will have money on that Saturday.
Viva. Yeah, go get all your Christmas gifts. That's what I did last year. I was like, they did it at GPO last year. And a lot of the products are so impressive. They have the
Mhm.
best stocking stuffers, so definitely check it out.
Biba, biba.
Yeah, so those are our four performers when we're also talking about an open mic sort of portion where some people can even go up. We're just figuring out like what exactly that's going to look like, if we're going to circle up and pass the mic, if folks want to share how they're feeling about the, you know, the water situation, maybe through a prayer or song, even just, you know, uh just through their own words, like what's going through their minds when they think about uh our water. Then and yeah, so these are the musical performances, open mic, and we can give you sort of like a rundown of what the day is going to look like. But it starts at 8 a.m. We're asking everyone to get there at 8 a.m. And we might have us we're still finalizing some of the speakers. So so we're kind of figuring out like the order, whether it's going to be speakers and then opening with a water ceremony. But we're asking folks those who are interested and have accessibility. Well, we live on an island, so if you just go to your nearest water body or whatever your ancestral waters are, you bring a water sample to participate in the water ceremony. Um, and and then we're gonna
And
start the
coconut
walk.
oil.
Okay, we're asking them to bring
And
coconut oil. Yeah, you can bring
coconut
coconut
oil too.
oils too.
We usually do a union or a unifying of the waters from all of our islands as well as coconut oil from different parts of the island. So if that's available to you also, so yeah, the water is primary, but we also do an ode to our lands being represented through the coconut oil.
Thanks, Yax. Yeah, so the coconut oil. And then after the ceremony portion, we're gonna start the walk, which is just a 1 mile walk starting from the nature center down the road, the dirt road leading to the different lots. And these are the lots that beachgoers use and set up their little areas for the day when they at the beach. So starting at the nature center down the dirt road, and we're gonna take a turn at around lot 3 and walk back on the beach side. So that takes about 30 minutes, but we are keeping it just to have that spaciousness for any folks who move a little bit slower. There are some nennies that are going to be walking and some manamku. We're also going to have this accessibility zone area for those who aren't able to walk due to accessibility needs, and for those who want to walk a portion of the walk, but are not able to do the full walk for whatever reason. There might be families with babies or young children. It might be tough for the kids to go for the full mile. We will have a rest area at 0.25 miles where people can sit and, as the crowd passes, walk back to the nature center. We also are a little bit a little extra, but we want to show like community care, right? Like, so why not just be extra about water stations? So we're having water stations at every 0.25 miles, have a water station for anybody that wants to just have a drink of water.
Telling
um
poetic
And,
now, it's
and
poetic.
during the water, we're praying the Lasasu as well.
And Nikki,
we're
oh my
praying to
God,
Lasatu.
it's like
Yeah.
a Nana joke. It's not a dad joke. It's a Nana joke. Hungen at the walk for water. Debidi gwa bula harnam naengi esti. So hungen.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
I
we
love
also
it. I love it.
ask people to, just as they walk, think about the ancestor that they're walking for, or why they came and walked together. And last year we had a plan to, like, we bought a what is it called?
The FM
A
transmitter.
FM transmitter, because we were trying to get the audio of the Lasadu going for the entire walk, but there were some issues with the radio tower on the top of the hill that were causing they just weren't able to connect to the FM transmitter. So it would just turned out to be it could have been our Tatamotna being like, we don't want loud noise, even if it's a Lasatu, I don't know. But we were just having issues with our tech that day, and it ended up just being a beautiful walk, and just looking around, everybody's talking and laughing, and just a way to bring the community together. And then when we get back to the nature center, that's when we're going to start up the live music and have more speakers in between. And so we're really, really excited. We want to, and feel free, Nex and he needs to chime in on this too. But one of the things we really want to highlight, and MCCA and PETA are going to be launching a campaign on the day of the Walk for Water, is the campaign is one to shut down the fifth firing range, which is the range that's going to close off Litekyan and 3 miles out into the ocean. In that part of the like the buffer zone for the fifth range, which is the multi-purpose machine gun range and grenade range. So it's just not something that we want on our island. We don't want grenades and machine guns ringing through the air in a conservation area and in a sacred place, one of our oldest ancient settlements in the entire Mariana Islands. And so we invite folks to come down and learn more about impacts to the firing range, and join us in the campaign to sign a letter to shut down Range 5, which will be a start. This will be the start. Obviously, the goal is to shut down the entire range, but this range is the one that hasn't been fully completed yet. And so that's something that the Litekyan families will be advocating in DC for at the end of January as well. So yeah, it's just wanting to really drive that forward. That is going to be our main sort of campaign that we're launching, and we're doing it in conjunction with these intentions, these prayerful intentions, and um, this healing action and event together as a community, because we do think that we need more. Like, this firing range situation, we're going on more than 10 years now of fighting against this project as a people, and we do need to like prayer we need to put our prayers up because this is bigger than all of us. There's the spiritual component that in a lot of advocacy work, even in, decolonization work, we think about the Constitution and we think about, the steps to decolonizing, but we at MCCA and HITA and so many of the groups organizing this, we want to uplift connection to ancestors, to our lands and waters in that effort. So yeah, we're just really excited, and we're gonna have food if some folks wanna on the chat. If you want, next is organizing some of the food. If you want to go into some of the other parts of the event.
No, Sidus Mase, if you, oh yeah,
I'm
food
just
details are always
just
good.
it's lunchtime, so I do want to get everybody's total going and mention the food that we will have. Since we are having a Lasazu, it's really fitting that we'll have Lasazu food. We're gonna have a huge pot of corn soup and sandwiches and manhatatizas um, from the Choti family in Anigua. And then we're also having a special delivery flying down some apigigi and some other peanut mammoths and possibly some cocoa or pickled things from Saipan.
Biba, Biba. You said the magic word you said the magic word for Chamorros from Guam. A piggy from Saipan. Thank you. Sidus Mase. All right. Now we have some questions. We're almost out of time, but we have some questions that have come in about the event. And so number one, of course, Parimanyat Luta Manyaska Gisan Lago, will the event be live streamed in any way, or will it be recorded in any way and released later so that people can watch?
Yeah,
I
right
think
now we're trying to work with KUAM. We're bringing them on as a media partner to do some advertising pre the event next week, as well as to do some documentation and a live stream. So they're still figuring it out because they are stretched thin with their team. But we are hoping to have a live and more and just in general more documentation and sharing out of the event over social media so our diaspora can tune in and pray along with us.
Sidus Masi. And another question, you had mentioned, of course, you know, having intentions and remembering ancestors and loved ones. And so someone wanted to know specifically, were you planning to do anything as part of the ceremony to honor members of the cultural community who have passed away this past year, such as Senora Frances Meno or Senora Sandra Okada? Were you planning on anything specific like that to just mention them or honor them in any way?
absolutely. We have, well, through Jeremy's chants, like next mentioned, we'll be chanting some of his chants, and that'll be in the program booklet. Auntie Frances Meno was one of my and next to um, such a trusted and loving elder and mentor for us through the years, just as kind of like a movement mama, who we always honor. I think she was also such a humble person to, and I think would be touched by us uplifting just all the hard work that she poured into our islands. So yeah, we the whole event is about honoring ancestors, honoring those who came before us, and then we will have, if folks want to add more intentions, this can happen in the open mic portion if people want to go up and share who they're walking for. Um, we had a couple Litekyan family elders who have passed on into the next life, still guiding us forward. So we walk for them. And, we invite everybody to come together, make their signs. One thing that we didn't really have last year was more signage, but people are welcome to make their protest signs if they would like to walk with their signs. You can even write who you're walking for on your signs. We definitely want to set intentions to honor those who have inspired us and those who came before us.
Oh, Sidzus Masi. And so we're out of time now. And so I wanted to just give you a chance now to any final messages, any final sort of logistical points, anything final to add. From anyone. You don't all have to speak, or you can all speak. Hamzulatman.
Myla Hallam, enjoy the day with us and kick off the holiday season at the beach and with good intentions. And yeah, hoping to see you all there. We're excited to host this event again.
Again, I guess I just want to center gratitude to all the organizations that have been working for months to make this event possible, and wanting to um, just just show everybody that we are like this is definitely co-created. And I think that's the beauty of events like this and others that we put together, we try to put out into the community as we invite groups to join us and really through the years have understood how solidarity is key in this type of work, and as we move forward, just having each other and having community to lean on in this heavy work. And the last thing is, I don't think we mentioned the speakers, but the ones we do have confirmed, which also thinking about gratitude to them. Dr. Underwood is going to be one of our speakers, and Mama Lou Manglonia, and a couple of Retidian families, and we're trying to confirm a couple others, but please follow us on MCCA or Hita Litekyan or any of the organizing groups on social media to learn more, because we'll be putting more information out over the next few weeks.
And Tahini Hago.
Iba. Yes, yeah, Myla, Tafan vibe, everybody. There's gonna be live music from local artists. It's gonna be local vendors. It's gonna be speakers, as Chela Maria said. There's gonna be corn soup, as Chelu next said. There's bula, everything. What's not there to love? If you love our island, you love our people, you love our culture, you'll love it at Walk for Water. It's gonna be a little bit of everything for little bit of everybody, I would say. It's a easy peasy walk. As Maria said, there's gonna be accommodations for people who don't want to go the whole way. I'm gonna try to push myself, but I'm also gonna be real. If I can't do it, hey, there's no shame if you can't make it. We all have different needs and bodies and shapes. Like, I am very out of shape. I am triangle zoo. So it's yeah, and I love that there's gonna be water stations just to remind you, what we are walking for. We are walking to sound the alarms, like the campaigning. We are sounding the alarms for the water injustices everywhere, including our own, and the impacts of militarization and what it has on not just our waters, but our quality of life, our livelihood. We are water. Water is life. So the quality of our water, the quality of life, and so on and so forth. So I'm glad that we're thinking about all these accommodations, these safety measures, accessibility needs, because water safety, water station. If we are water, I'm trying to connect it. I'm trying to be wise fan. But water safety, there's something there with you get it. There's something there with being mindful and safe with our, us being mostly water, and then providing also just like that regulation of water. But anyway, solidarity
Hadongan
is
Taiguihi i-trench na klasen tinadungan now. Taiguihi i-trench.
thank you.
Hugan si Zeus
Trent's deep.
Masi.
But
Trench
yes,
deep.
that's what I want to say is come, and gratitude for everybody who has put this together, and very honored to be a part of the team. I can't wait to see you guys there.
Hey, si Zeus
Viva!
Masi. Hugan and
Viva!
si Zeus Masi, don't forget para Hamzo Todos, December 13th, Saturday, starting at 8 a.m. Walk for Water, Lukaw, Litekyan, Hungan. Gifinot niya si Tahini, Nita Fem Vibe, Nita Fem Vibe, Hungan. Si Zeus Masi, para Fanaton Midzo, si Zeus Masi para Hamzo Todos, para in Ega Zanin Ekungok, Adios, Estaki, Manatli, Hitatlu, Esta.